Good morning to everyone this morning. I like to welcome everyone to this morning webinar. And I believe by the end of today's webinar, we are going to learn one or two things about the topic that says financial wellness for retirees, smart money strategies. So I would like to welcome our facilitator for today, Mr. Adenrele Onikosi. You are welcome. And I would like to welcome all the Alausa that are on this call. I'd like to welcome all the serving directors, retired directors, and all the serving officers of Lagos State Public Service. You are all welcome this morning. The Permanent Secretary, Public Service Office, Mrs. Oyebola, is not around, but the Director Post Service, Mrs. Bukola Durodola, is around. She will be the one to declare the webinar open this morning. Without taking much of our time, I would like to respectfully invite the Director Post Service Department to please declare the webinar open.
Good morning, distinguished participants on this call. It's a pleasure to have you once again. Let me acknowledge all retired heads of service and permanent secretaries on this call. I also want to acknowledge the presence of a retired director and a one-time essay to Mr. Governor on taxation this morning. You are all welcome to this call. This morning we are looking at smart. Once again, I want to welcome each and every one of us. The topic we are looking at this morning is financial wellness for retirees, smart money strategies. As I was saying, it is in the interest of this administration to ensure that retirees live a good life after retirement. And this has necessitated bringing up series of webinars that will ensure that we achieve this goal. Once again, I welcome us and I wish us happy deliberation. I want to advise us to grab our notes because our facilitator this morning is loaded, and I'm sure he will be giving us a lot of tips that will ensure that we are on top of our finances. Once again, you are welcome. On this note, I declare this webinar open. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my director. Quickly, I would like to go through the biography of the facilitator for today. Mr. Adenrele Onikosi is a highly skilled professional with expertise in leadership, learning and development, and corporate governance.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Can you hear me? Hello, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. You are audible. Go ahead, please.
Oh, great. Thank you. Because I mean, the last speaker, I was struggling to hear, so I wasn't sure whether it was my network. So good morning again, everyone. Thank you so much for having me join this distinguished audience. Madam Director, good morning. And every member of the post-service department for putting this together this morning. And to every distinguished person on the call this morning, I want to welcome you. So this morning, as you have heard, we're looking at the subject of financial wellness for retirees. And so we'll be looking at the subject of wellness, financial wellness, and then we'll also move into smart money strategies that retirees can consider, can explore if you're not already doing so. So it's really a learning session for everyone. And so I would appreciate that if you have questions, if you have thoughts, kindly put it in the chat area. That way you can also keep it so you don't forget, so that we can look at it at the end of the session. Okay, so I want to start with a very interesting thought. And I want to challenge your thought with this. I need you to read this and just look at it. So it is my thought and thinking that people are poor, not necessarily because they've not earned or made money. Usually it's because they lack the discipline to delay gratification, or they're too busy trying to impress people who don't give a damn about them, so they spend their money in a way that they should not, or they lack money management and money multiplication skills. So it's either one of the four or a combination of 2, 3, or even all of the four. And this is where, sincerely, I would like to hear your thoughts in the chat area before we go on. Because so, you know, people, oh, I don't have the money, you know, I'm poor, I'm not able to. Most times it's not because people have not earned money. And sometimes I also hear people say, oh, how much is the money that I'm earning? It's not a lot. Even in this present day Nigeria, you know, this money is not a lot. The challenge is not that the money is not a lot. The challenge is that maybe one of these is the experience. Thank you so much. Somebody in the chat area has already responded that all of the above, that is possible somebody has experienced all of the above. I would really like to hear your thoughts. We are 69 on this, 59 on this call. Please, let me hear your call. Your thoughts, please. That people are not poor, not because they don't have money, not because they've not made money, not because they've not earned money, that it is likely one or two of these reasons, or a combination of the four reasons. The first one is a lack of discipline to delay gratification, which means everything I see now I must buy. So if somebody comes in and advertises to you or promote their product, because you don't necessarily have a budget, you don't have a plan, you buy everything. Everything that appeals to your eyes, you want to buy. Everything that appeals to your taste board, you must take it, you must eat part of it. Is, you know, the lack of the ability to delay gratification. To say, yes, I like to have this thing, but it's really not part of the plan for now. So no, it's not to say, oh, I have the money now, but the point is the money is for what? Thank you, thank you. I like the responses are coming. Yes, thank you. I see Mommy Show, Folashade, Ajibade Bolajoko says all of the above. And Madam Director says that she agrees with the quote. There's Adekunle Nuga. It says it's likely the poor money management and lack of money-making skills. That's also part of a combination. So Okole Olufunke says lack of discipline is the main cause. I'm glad that to a large extent we're all on the same, you know, page, because you find out that it's so important. There's, I see I see my esteemed council member is here now. He said it's all of the above, but all borders on indiscipline. That's Alhaji Ajetumobi. So you see, people are poor, not necessarily because they've never made money, but because either they lack the discipline to delay gratification, or they're busy trying to impress people. And I think it's one thing we do a lot here. You know, we do things that, you have to buy it so that they won't say, so people will not think, you know, we have to show them that we also belong. If they now go, everybody is there and I'm not there, and they will not be thinking. That is the number one formula for poverty. Then the lack of, you know, ability to make money, the skills, and also to multiply money. Let's move on. Thank you all for your contribution. So talking about wellness, which is where I want to really start from. Okay, so wellness is the foundation for overall well-being. It's a state of complete well-being, whether physical health, emotional, relational, mental, and financial. So when we talk about health, wellness, wellness is holistic. It puts into consideration one's physical health, because again, we're gathered here this morning, we're talking about smart money decisions. It's only healthy people that can talk about that right now. People who are not feeling healthy in their body physically, their priority, their thought is not money. Their thought is to get well. So by all means, even if they don't have the money, family, you know, so many issues, so many strategies can be deployed to get them to be healthy physically. Another one is emotional health. We see that happening a lot. When people are emotionally distressed, they can't think of neither making money or multiplying money. If they're on a job, they're likely to be asked to go home and take care of yourself. And if they don't have a compassionate employer, maybe after 1, 2, 3 months, they would have their appointment or employment terminated. There's also relational health. There's mental health. A lot of that right now. We see that happening around. People are traumatized. People, you know, behave in certain ways because of the trauma of their past, whether childhood trauma. And some, you see the demonstration of the trauma because they've been, you know, mentally abused, whether in their relationships, you know, whether a family relationship or even workplace relationship. They might experience mental abuse, and then financial health. So we're talking about wellness. Wellness has to be holistic. It deals with everything. Okay? So I say wellness is a holistic approach to health and happiness, which encompasses the various dimensions of well-being that I mentioned earlier on. So, and wellness is not merely the absence of illness, but the presence of positive factors that contribute to a higher quality of life. And, you know, there are different data, but some data claim right now that the average life expectancy of a Nigerian man now is around 50 or so. And so that means if you are above 50, you are 60 and above, you are among those that are, you know, that are the specially blessed. And you see, so the quality of life is continually dropping in our society. And wellness, we say, it extends beyond the individual, and it can also be applied in our workplaces, in our communities and family. So it spreads across every area. So now let's move on and drill down further into financial wellness. Why does financial wellness, why does it matter? I can tell you the first main reason that I have here is that financial stress is a common concern for an average person and can affect overall well-being, quality of life, even performance on the job, and job satisfaction. So that's why it's important for us to talk about financial wellness. Because, if every time you have to pay a bill, your blood pressure is always rising, you are not financially well. If every time you need to do something, so what we're talking about now is not necessarily the amount of the money. If you want to pay your house rent, or if you're a landlord, but you have to pay tenement rate every year, if you have to pay your electricity bill, if you have to pay your children's school fees, if you have to pay for a medical bill, whatever you need to do as an individual, but always causes you stress, it is a state of not being well financially, because it's a major challenge. And when there is financial stress, it does what? It affects the health. You probably might not know, but then for those who are aware, are self-conscious, that's when you find, especially men, we are the ones that probably demonstrate our own a lot more like that. We don't say much, we don't do anything, but we just sit down and all you do is taking a deep breath every time. You would have thought about so many things, and by the time you are bringing it home, your response is, and I can tell you something, that very, condition has a significant impact on your blood pressure. And so that's why you see a lot of people, they even have high blood pressure, they're not aware. You have this constant headache, you don't know where it's coming from. You're always having a headache around one side of your head, and you don't know what's happening around it. If you are such a person, you need to go get checked. It's not ordinary headache. Don't take Panadol when you have headache. Headache is an indication of a deeper problem. So when you take a pain reliever, it only masks it, it covers it, it does not take care of it. So financial stress is very, very real, and lack of financial wellness is the cause for it. Number two, people who feel financially secure, they are more focused, they are more productive, they are better equipped to handle personal and professional challenges. So when you see people who are financially secure, and financial security a lot of the time has nothing to do with the quantity of the money you are earning, but rather the skills, the knowledge, the wisdom, the intelligence to multiply the little that you have and turn it into something phenomenal. That is the difference. So when you see people are financially secure, they're more focused, they're not distracted. Because somebody who is not financially secure, who is thinking of paying a bill, and then he comes to work, his mind or her mind is not going to be fully on that work. So that's where you see mistakes here and there. Mistakes that somebody at your level should naturally not make. It's because you're distracted. It's because your thought is going everywhere. You're thinking of your rent because the landlord has given you an ultimatum. If that rent isn't paid in another week or month, you are going to be in a dilemma where your goods or your property is thrown out, and your family doesn't have a place to lay their head. So you're not going to be focused. And if you're not, you can't be productive. You're not equipped to handle things. So sometimes you see such people at work, you say just something that shouldn't trigger them. Every little thing will trigger them. They will yell, they will shout, and then you'll be wondering, what is the problem with this person? You're not certain. Now, can you see the financial problem is leading to emotional situation that is making the person to demonstrate some mental health symptoms? So all of these things are intertwined. So promoting the third one, promoting financial wellness, really demonstrate that any organization cares for its people's holistic health, and it leads to higher morale and higher dedication. So I think you should always find a way to say thank you to the organizers of this webinar that always bring you together to hear some of these things that can help you. So let's go on and look at. So now I want to talk about some things, because you see, your perspective about money will determine your relationship with money. Some people's relationship with money is the reason money doesn't stay with them. You see, because the Bible talks about money having wings. So money has the capacity to fly away from somebody. So that's why you see some people have money yesterday. They are wealthy yesterday. And a few years down the line, you will never hear the name of their family anymore. Because you know what? The person in the family lineage that understands the language of money, that created that wealth, maybe the person has died and then handed over money to the next generation that is clueless about money, that have nothing. They don't have an idea of money. And then the money comes into their hand. You know what happened? Money develops wings and it flies away. And that's why, you know, every time we say Nigerian currency, foreign currency, if you look at that word currency, currency is from the word current, and that means it flows. So money has the capacity to flow. It flows from those who don't know how to handle it, who don't know how to manage it, who don't know how to multiply it. It goes into the hands of people who understand it. So the point is, what are your perspective about money? Like I said, your perspective of money will determine your relationship with money. Whether you are the type that as soon as money enters your hand, I hope you know there are people that have itchy hands. As soon as money enters, that is when you'll be thinking of how to finish spending it. Some people, by the time money comes, your list is also beside you. When money comes into your hand, you immediately starts to throw it out. You are a consumer. You are not a producer. Consumers will always have money leave their hand into the hand of those who are producing the things you are buying. So if all you do is buy, you are tending to poverty. You're going to be poor. It's only a matter of time. Right? So the relationship with money is important. How do you think about money? What is money to you? Is money a tool to you, or is money your God? Okay? I have 3 examples here. I'd like to share their story. And I want to ask you, in case somebody might know, I didn't put their names there. I only put their pictures. So I want to find out if you know anything about them. So these 3 people, I'd like to know if anybody knows them or know their name or you know their story. Are we good? Are you with me, everyone? Please don't leave me alone. Don't let me feel like I'm the only one here. I hope I'm not the only one here. Hello?
You are not the only one, sir. We can hear you. Please
all right.
Go ahead.
So these 3 people, they have something in common. This was their net worth. The lady, $200 million. This man, $8 million. And this man, $50 million. They have one thing in common. They're very wealthy people. Okay, I see a question there. Stella says, is a cheerful giver a consumer? If you are giving, you must budget your giving. Otherwise, you can give yourself into poverty. Okay, so these 3 people, they're global celebrity in their life. This woman is the designer, the owner of the design chain, Kate Spade. So for women who carry designer handbag, many of you probably have handbag in your wardrobe. Kate Spade. Her net worth was $200 million. This was Anthony Bourdain. Anthony Bourdain was a celebrity chef. He had a show on CNN. And this guy was William Robin. He made the whole world laugh. He was one of the best comedian of his time. But you know, there was something about all of them. They all committed suicide. They all committed suicide, not because they didn't have money. I'm talking about relationship with money. So sometimes some people think that your only problem is money. If I have money, my problem is solved. Unfortunately, that is not always true. Okay? So these three people, they all committed suicide. But at the time this woman committed suicide, she was worth $200 million. So money wasn't the problem. This one was worth $8 million. This one was worth $50 million. So the question is, what was wrong with them? It wasn't just money. So that is where we go back to where we started from. Wellness, a holistic approach to well-being. So that whether spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, you are well and you have a good relationship with money. So if you're looking for a deep sense of fulfillment, you can only find it in your purpose, your why, especially in retirement. Retirement does not mean tiredness. Retirement does not also mean redundancy. Retirement does not mean complacency. Retirement gives you an opportunity to probably go and live your dream, the one you thought of. Many of the things you thought you were going to do while you were in paid employment. Now you have the opportunity to go and live your dream and live a life of fulfillment. So it is possible that people have money, but because they do not have this deep sense of fulfillment, they feel out of space. They have money, but they are depressed. They have money, but they are not happy. They have money, but, they're not just happy with their life. They're always, edgy. People see them, that they look like they are sadists. They make everyone around them feel terrible. It's because there is a deep sense of lack inside of them. There is a deep sense, of want inside of them. So if you think that because you don't have money, that's why you are sad, it's not a problem. I guarantee that by the time you have money, if you not dealt with the source of your sadness, your lack of fulfillment, money will amplify it for you. So let's go on and quickly talk about healthy money mindset that you need to have. Because the mindset that you have about money, they matter a lot. They determine whether when money comes into your hand, money will stay. They determine whether your money, the relationship you have with money will be a healthy one. So let's talk about this first money mindset that you should have. I have this here, a few of them. Contentment. So people, money mindset that you should have is one, contentment. Right? Contentment. Now, contentment is not the proof that you have too much. Being contented does not mean that you are complacent. Being contented does not mean that you lack ambition. Contentment is just proof that you are grateful for where you are now while you are on the journey to where you want to be. That is the definition of contentment. You are grateful for where you are now. Because one of the biggest secret to being financially secure is to have a mindset of gratitude and not to be entitled to anything. So when you are grateful, you're saying, this money I have might not be much, but I'm grateful for it. While I'm still working and on the way to getting more, God, I thank you for this, but there's still room for more. I can grow. That's a good money mindset to have. One money mindset that you need to get rid of is to think that when you have more money, you will be happy. Most times when people have more money, they are confused. There was a research that was conducted by a salesman, and the research was this. He realized that he was a shoe salesman. So he realized that every time people come into his shop to buy shoes, if people have more than 2 options of a shoe they look at, most times he discovered that they never buys anyone. And the reason is this: when you have too many options, people are confused, so they don't know what to do. So what this salesman did was, when he brings one shoe and you ask for another one, he gives you, and you're looking at the 2. And then he looks at you again, or the person says, oh, can I have another one? Then the salesman will ask you something. Out of these 2, which one should I take away? So he removes one of the initial 2 before he brings the 3rd one. So the idea is to make sure that you don't have 3, 4 shoes at the same time, because his experience has taught him that when people have more than 2 opportunities to make a choice, they get confused and don't, eventually they leave his shop and they never buy. So too many options get people confused. So if you think when you have more money, you will be happy, I can tell you that more money comes with more headache. The more money you have, then you need to prepare for more PR work, because now you need to now begin to pay public relations people to help you keep your reputation intact, because somebody somewhere is trying to destroy your reputation. So the more money you have, it's not going to determine your happiness. 3, retirement planning does not start when you retire. Retirement planning starts the time you get into the workforce. Number 4, your investment should be a means to build a long-term wealth. Investment is not a quick, it's not MMM. It's not something, that will give you 200 naira today, and tomorrow or the next tomorrow, it turns it into 2 million for you. Another one is income increment does not determine increase in expenses. Now, this is something I like to share with people a lot. So when people have their income increase, what you should naturally do is to increase your discipline. But most times, people increase their expenses. So let me give you an example. If someone was earning 100,000 naira, hypothetically, in a job, and you've been at that job for a year, 2 years, and you are earning 100,000 naira, right? And then you change job, and now you are earning 300,000 naira. Most times, what people usually will do, that is when the person will now feel that the house they are living in Abule Eda or in Men is no longer fit for their status. Now he will be looking for a house in Ikeja on Ale because they want to change status. That's when they will now start to say, no, the clothes I have now is not good enough for my level. And that is a foolish thing that people do, but they don't realize. So when your sources of income increase, your expenses should not increase. Your discipline should increase instead of increasing your expenses. Because if you are living in that house in Mero and they've not driven you out of the place, and you are comfortable, you are not hungry with that money you are spending, you are able to manage. If you're a smart person and you understand how money works, you will take the difference between your old and your new salary and put that difference into an investment vehicle. Leave it for a year. Just give yourself 1 year discipline. You are likely to be a millionaire at the end of 1 year if you know how to invest that difference. And also financial wellness. Financial awareness and literacy is very important. So why do we promote financial wellness in retirement? It is important to promote financial wellness in retirement because of the continuous acquisition of skills and knowledge to help you to make informed financial decisions, especially if you have retired, like a lot of us on this call, and maybe you are yet to have a business, you are yet to have sources of other income, then you need to dedicate your time to learn how money works. You need to learn it. Like we went to school to read all of these courses. Unfortunately, these courses is something they should have taught us in school about money. But you see, our curriculum does not include how money works. So another reason we should promote this is to help you set financial goals and receive personalized guidance with your money. Understand the retirement options that you have, and you can make informed choices. To help you also keep a healthy appetite for risk, right? From low to moderate appetite for risk. That's why we promote financial wellness. And to invest in free or discounted financial wellness programs or ecosystem. This is very important for you, because if you need to be within a community where they're talking about money, the strategies, what's happening today, what is the flow of money today? What's the flow of money? What has it been in the last 1 week? What has the flow of money been in the last 1 month? You need to be within such community to hear and know such things. Okay, I hope everyone is still with me up until now. Please, if you have a question or something, please put it in the chat area before we move on to talk about some smart money strategies. Everyone, are you okay? Are you with me? Are you with me? Please, if you are here with me, I want you to put in the chat area. Just put the number 1. If you are following me, just put number 1 there. Then I know that you are number 1. Thank you. Thank you. I see it coming. Awesome. 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 Thank you. Thank you very, very kindly for your responses. Thank you so much for your responses. So let's talk about some smart money strategies. Okay? Let's talk about some smart money strategies. So here I'm going to be going a little bit more into investments and all of that. So we want to look at it. What is it? Smart money strategies. These are avenues for what? For financial self-reliance in retirement. The first one is important for you to set up a second profession or vocation. Now, and I've seen this happen a lot. In the course of my consulting work, in talking with people, with individuals, in coaching sessions and training sessions, I've seen and heard people have a lot of regret for how they handle their finances after retirement. A few years ago, I met a gentleman in one of my sessions in Abuja, and he talked about the mistake he made because he retired with a huge, payout from one of the agencies in oil and gas at the federal level. But by 8 months, he was broke. And the reason was he went to invest money in a business that he does not know anything about. And I see people who retired make that mistake over and over. And you know why they make the mistake? Because the people that bring those opportunities to them are trusted people. This guy said it was his wife's brother. He knows. And they said, oh, let us go and set up an hotel. And they put all the money in the hotel and nothing was working. He was broke because they were always needing money to fix, to get it to a level where people would come. So as much as it is important for you to have a second or career, a vocation in retirement, it is usually a good thing for you to build your vocation or your post-retirement career around where you have skills and experience. Build it around what you know. And any business you are going to do in retirement that will take more than 25, maximum 25% of your retirement package, don't do it. So first, I said, build your vocation around your experience. And I tell you that one of the things that I see that a lot of people who have retired can do is to have a knowledge-based practice, a practice that that people can pay for your experience. I hope you know your 35 years or 30 years experience is something that people cannot just get on the shelf. It is valuable. But a lot of time, many of us are going around with valuable experience and skills in a defective form. You don't know how to put it together to set up a business that people will be rushing you for. It's another thing to have that experience. It's another thing for you to know how to turn it into, a business. Hello, can you still hear me, please? Hello,
We can hear you. We can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I just lost my power here, electricity. So I wanted to make sure that you can hear me. Okay, so it's very important. Then two, it's also an avenue for financial self-reliance in retirement, a guaranteed withdrawal from savings on investment income. So the Pension Reform Act provides guaranteed retirement savings account. However, high inflation and poor development renders this inadequate for many retirees in the foreseeable future. Now, let me speak to this because this is something that a lot of retirees, have this pension account. And on your pension savings account, and by the way, let me put this out there, that savings is not an investment plan. You cannot save your way into financial security. Because according to the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, the last inflation figure that was released, that I know, inflation was 34.5 or 34.8%. And I would like a confirmation in the chat area. Please, how many percent does the pension gives us? How many percent does your pension pay? Please, I want one or two people to confirm. What is the percentage that you get on your money in your PSA, the pension savings account? I need a confirmation. 25%. Mommy Show, are you sure? I need more confirmation. That figures look a bit high. $25% per annum. Okay, it's all right. So let's work with. Yeah. So Okoli Olufunke says 10%. That looks more like it, but then it's okay. I see 25% coming. Now, no, okay. My question is, I'm not asking how much do you collect first. I'm saying the percentage that the pension fund administrator gives you every month on your account. I'm not talking about your payout. I know that the first payout is usually 25% of your total. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying how much do they give you on your account that is with them, because that's the real thing. So I think it's about 10%. So you can imagine, now Mommy, sure you get my question. So you can imagine if the percentage is between 5, somebody said 12% is okay. Let's say between 5 to 12%. That's how much they pay you. And the inflation is 34.5%. So I hope you know that you really don't have money in that account because you are making a loss. So let me give you the loss that you are making in real time minus 12%. You are making a loss of 22.8% per annum on your money. That's how much loss you are making for keeping your money in that pension savings account, because savings cannot hedge against inflation. You will never get anything that is good there. So why is smart money investment, they perform better than non-smart money investment? And that's just what I wanted to say. So keeping your money in the pension fund stuff is not a smart investment because you are losing money. Your money is not performing better. And I know that a lot of people are always scared. I don't want to put my money in somewhere where you will lose your money. And it's a legitimate concern, which is very okay. But we'll go further and we'll talk about it. So why do people get restrained? Like, why don't you, take steps for personal investment? So for some people, is what? Their ego and personal aggrandizement. And we talked about that at the beginning. Trying to belong, trying to act, that you are there. So that how would they know that I'm there? Because I've retired does not mean I can't be there where everybody is. I can tell you something, that as soon as you retire, one of the first things you should do is a lifestyle adjustment. There's nothing wrong with it. While you were working, if you used to buy clothes every 2 months, you cannot afford that now, because you check even your wardrobe, those clothes you bought in the past. What has happened to them? Have they expired? Have they lost value? Why must you keep putting clothes or things in your wardrobe that will not have any value for you? You can't turn them into money. Then another one is covetousness, closely related to what I've talked about. Another restraint from personal investment is misjudgment. And misjudgment comes from lack of financial education. Many people lack the financial education to make financial decisions. And so it can restrain them. And so what do? They just keep the money in their hand. So what do? You behave like one of the servants that was in the parable of the talent. They gave one 5, they gave one 2, they gave one 1 talent. Instead of the 1 talent to go and trade with it, you say, no, I don't want anything to happen to my money. Then you go and keep it. You keep it and then you are eating from it. Remember, your money is not growing when you don't plant it, when you don't put it in an investment. So you keep taking from it until there's nothing else to take. The wrong timing can be a restraint. Wrong timing in investment. Character weakness can also be a restraint. You spend money on everything. Some people have some natural tendencies to like the good life. You like the good life. You like to be the life of the party. When you enter there, they must stay. And then you get into the place. You've forgotten that right now you have retired. Now you are working. The money you are making or the money you have now is the money you will work for. If you don't work for it, you will not have money. You can't go to parties and be spraying money as if you have a minting press somewhere. It's important. Let's move on quickly and talk about savings and investment. So now, initially, I told you savings is a poor plan. I remember I did something with one of the commercial banks. They have a product, they call it high interest account. But when I heard of it then, I asked them, oh, they said we give this number of percentage, this, that. I was like, oh, okay, let me give it a try. But it was a very terrible learning experience for me. So what happened? They called it high interest yield account or high yield interest account. And the best they were giving, the best was less than 6%. And they call it high yield. And underneath the high yield, there are a lot of charges that were coming into it. So the only time I always advise you to save money in a savings account is for you to be able to do capital accumulation before you move your money into the investment that you want. And then if you have money in savings account, it should be money that you want to spend. Your expenses, the money, for daily expenses, maybe weekly, monthly. Don't keep money beyond what you need to spend in a month in a savings account. Otherwise, you are losing money. The inflation is eating deep into your savings. That means the value of 500,000 naira in an account that is giving you 12% per annum as against the inflation of 34.5 or 8%, your money is reducing by 22.8%. So if you calculate it in the real sense, your 500,000 naira is actually not 500,000 naira. You're going to multiply that 500,000 naira, right, by 22.8%. And what you get in value, remove it, deduct it from 22.8%. So what that gives you, I'm doing the calculation here. So instead of 500,000 naira, you think you have 500,000 naira. What you have is actually 386,000 naira because the inflation has eaten into your money. So your money is not 1,200, it's actually 386,000. So it's important for you to know that just keep money for spending in a savings account, not more than 1 month. Okay? So savings and investment involves you planning and analyzing so that you can identify the appropriate investment vehicles that you want to use. And how do you do that? You'll be able to identify the true values of those investments and then how to mitigate the risks that come from the investment. And let me let you know that every investment has risk. However, that's why they've been classified into low risk, moderate risk, and high risk. And usually my advice for people, especially retirees or people who are just starting their investment journey, for you to not go for any investment vehicle that is more than a low risk investment vehicle. So something that is low risk. Low risk means that even if the investment does not give you the return the way you want it, you will not lose your capital, your principal. Your principal is guaranteed for you. And so also we have some moderate risk investment that also guarantee that your principal is safe. So making an investment plan, first you need to do a self-appraisal. What is my goal? Why do I want to go into investment? Is it for capital accumulation or for wealth retention? I want to be able to, preserve my wealth. Because these individual needs will help you to know the investment types that you will go for, and also to be able to know the duration, the maturity of the returns of those on those investments. Then another thing is you prepare and evaluate what? Okay, the second one is to now set your financial goals and targets. What do you want to achieve? So somebody who wants, maybe you want to be able to buy yourself another car, the one you've been using, or you want to buy something for yourself, or you want to be able to go on a vacation, you want to travel, your investment plans can guarantee that the return on the investment can be enough for you to take yourself on a vacation without touching your principal. So set your financial goal. Prepare and evaluate alternatives. There are several investment vehicles in the market, whether capital market, whether the money market. There are several investment vehicles, whether commodities, there are several investments. Then you need to create an investment plan for yourself. Okay? Create an investment plan. These are the different types of investors. That it is good for you to know yourself. And I have 3 classifications here. This one by your risk appetite. Do you have a low risk appetite? Is it moderate or is it high? This one is by the tenure. How long, do you want to have your investment? Short term, medium term, long term. And I said long term can be as long as 5 to 10 years. Medium term can be maybe a year, 2. Short term can be 90 days, 180 days, and 270 days. Okay, then by this one, by investment approach. So do you want to be the operator of it? Are you a specialist, or you want to get an industry expert to help you? Are you the connector or the generalist? So these are types of investors, right? Here again, we're still looking at the types. Are you a passive investor? Do you invest passively? Are you an active investor? An active investor is the one that even in retirement, you have made investing your full-time job. That means if you are investing in either the capital market or the money market, you are always there to see the performance of all of the companies within your portfolio. You are watching how they're making, you're looking at the market research to know what is going to happen, say, in another 1, 2, 3 weeks, 1 month, 2 months from now. So that way you can move your investments around. Are you, is it a portfolio income? That means you have a huge portfolio, or it's just a passive income for you. You are the one, for instance, who have investment in I would say maybe in a bond or a mutual fund that pays you every month, and you are okay with it. You need to know your own type of investment. So here are some investment options and vehicles. So here is the financial market. In the financial market, we have 2 markets there that are divided. I've talked about them, both capital and money market. So money market is a market that meets your immediate cash needs, while capital market is the one that you need to help you grow your money over a longer time. So there are a lot of money market instruments. Money market instrument, one of them is mutual fund. So mutual fund, so for me, this is my advice. Please, is an advice. I'm not saying you should do it. That instead of putting your money in a savings account that can give you up to 12% per annum, you can also put that money in a mutual fund. It's also like a savings account. But the cheapest of the mutual fund that I have seen in Nigeria, in our market, seen a lot of these operators, the cheapest I've seen is 20% that you will get on your money. Yeah, it is still a far cry from the inflation, but it is better, you will agree with me, than 10%. I know some that gives you 24% on your money. So your money can grow on a 24% per annum. And if you want to be collecting that profit of your money on a monthly basis, you will just tell them. They will be paying you. So I know people who put their money in such mutual fund and they get the payment every month. It comes as if it's a salary every month into their account, while your capital, your principal, is still there for you. Okay? Your principal is still there for you. So it's important that, you know, so mutual fund is there. There is also, there's the fixed income. That doesn't give so much. But there is one that gives also about 17 to 18% per annum. That is the FGN savings bond, the federal government savings bond. The federal government savings bond is released every month, like every first 4 days in a month. They always issue it. And it is over a period of 2 years or 3 years. So if you put your money for a 2-year period, the interest is around 17.4%, while if your money is for 3 years, the interest on it is 18.4%. And it pays you quarterly, it pays you every 3 months. So what some people have done that I know with that is they have invested money in the federal government savings bond for 3 months consecutively. So if, for instance, you invest in March, April, and May, what will happen is that the one in March will be due March, April, May, June. It will be due in June. So you will collect in June. Another one will be due in July. Another one will be due in August. So that you now see that every month there is something that is coming in for you. They are all low risk. There are a lot of them. But for the want of time, let me move on quickly. So these are some of the features that you see. Right? So for money market, they're usually less than 1 year period, because you can also have instruments like Treasury bill. That's also issued by the federal government through the Debt Management Office. And it can have a maturity date depending on what you want. Some of them 90 days, some of them 180 days, 270 days, like that. And they also usually have a very, very good interest rate, a lot better than your savings, and also better than even the mutual fund. So they bear lower returns. It is good if you are looking for constant liquidity. The risk level is low and it is short term. So capital market is where we have usually the bonds, the FGM bond, bonds like the Sukuk bond, Euro bonds, all of those bonds, they come under the capital market. Equity is shares of company. You know, sometimes I've heard people say, oh, I lost money in the shares. So shares is a long term. You might buy it for a particular amount now, and you go there the next day or a week after, the value has dropped. It's okay. It does not mean that it's something you want now, because you'll be shocked that in another few months or a year or so, you will see the value of the money can triple or even more than that. I was just reading yesterday, somebody who bought the share price of Geregu Power for 200 Naira plus was selling yesterday, or sometimes this February, for 1,000 plus Naira per share. So you can do the math. It's high risk. The money can go down, the money can go up, but if you are a long-term player, you are likely to also make your money back in that terms of in that regard. Okay, so these quickly, bonds, I'm talking about bonds here. This may be issued as per face value or discounted. For instance, treasury bills are usually discounted. And there's also commercial paper. Commercial paper is issued by a private organization who want to raise working capital for their business. They have reputation, they have, so they come into the market to raise working capital. There is one that is currently going on by one of these companies. They are trying to raise, I think, 50 billion naira from the market for their operation. And for such, if you don't have so much big money, you can't go into the primary market, you go into the secondary market and buy from those who have more than 50 million naira that have been able to buy, then you can come and buy from the secondary market from them. Okay, so the treasury bill is discounted. So if, for instance, you have 100,000 to put in treasury bill at the secondary market, so your interest, you get it upfront. So it's usually not called interest, it's called discount. So it gets discounted, maybe 10%. So what you will be paying will be 90,000 naira. But when you will get your money back, you will get 100,000 naira. Sometimes it's a little more than even 10%. It can be 10.5, 11% thereabout. Okay, so the benefit with bond is that it provides for you a steady and regular interest because they pay it at specified time. And so you can plan and work yourself, your finances around those times. Okay, so this is equity, talking about shares. Because of my time, I need to, rush off. So shares, so you have quoted companies and unquoted shares. And like I said, is a long-term investment and it is high risk. So if you don't have the appetite for it, please just leave it alone. Okay. So another thing you can do is investing in agriculture. Sometimes investing in agriculture does not mean you have to go and farm yourself. There are a lot of companies now who are doing this, reputable, that they can farm for you. You pay for a particular portion of land. You tell them the kind of crop you want, maybe a cash crop that will give you something. And you can also visit the farm from time to time to see how it is doing. But you need to know that it's also a high risk. There's also opportunity in the tech space for small businesses and for investments. Okay. Let me stop here because of my time. But then we can take questions for the rest of the time. Let me hand over to the
Thank you
host
so
for today.
much, sir. Thank you for the presentation. So loaded. Please, I would like to quickly recognize the presence of the retired permanent secretary and essay to Mr. Governor on Education, in person of Otumba Fatai Olukoga. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Also, I would like to recognize the presence of Mr. F.O. Lasisi, retired director and essay to Governor on Taxation. Thank you for joining us this morning. Also, the retired permanent secretary and one-time honorable commissioner on establishment, Mrs. Florence Oguntunwase. Thank you for joining us, ma. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much. So we have some questions here. Let me quickly check the question. Somebody said you should please explain more about mutual said you should please explain more about it. Then another question here, kindly list investments that can comfortably benefit retirees. That is another one. Then another question, somebody said, what is the type of investment that retiree can go into when we consider the economic situation of Nigeria now? What can they invest on? Thank you so much. So if we have anybody that have question that is not written on the chat, kindly raise up your hand and we ask you to unmute and you ask your question. Please, we have 5 minutes for this. Thank you. Mr. Lukosi, kindly attend to those questions.
As somebody said about mutual fund. So I said mutual fund is a low risk investment. So if you are concerned about capital preservation, you want to preserve your money, it is better, a lot better to do mutual fund than to keep your money in ordinary savings account. Like I said, I know I'm not being paid, but let me mention 1 or 2, 3 providers. I don't work for them. But I know that Stanbic IBTC usually does not give more than 20 to 21%. Sometimes it's 19% to 21% of your money, right? So per annum, what you do is whatever money you have there, you are getting 20% on it per annum. Whatever the result is, you divide it by 12. So that's what you'll be getting on a monthly basis. But I know that Meristem gives about 24% on the same mutual fund. So if you have, say, for instance, maybe 5 million naira with Meristem, and they give you 24% per annum, that's 1.2 million on your 5 million per year. And you divide it by 12. Every month on your 5 million, they will pay you 100,000 naira. So you can decide to either be collecting it monthly or ask them to reinvest it for you. You have the options of that. I hope that has helped Olufunke Okoli. Then somebody says Treasury bill is now 21%, 352 days. Yeah. So like I said, it depends on what's happening in the market. So sometimes you can actually do 270 days. The tenure can be 270 days. In some cases, you can do 180 days. But then if it's 180 days, you should know that the tenure will affect what your returns in that. And like we said, Treasury bill is something you get your discount upfront. And sometimes also you can also get, instead of getting your discount, you can also capitalize your discount. That means you can add it to it. Instead of collecting it, you can add it to the principal and increase that money so that what you get at the payout time is a lot better. Okay, so somebody says, which company? You have to do, that's where the research is. There are a lot of companies offering different things, and at different time, depending on the market dynamics, they are offering changes from time to time. So that's the challenge with that. But then it's okay with that. I think I've answered the question. I don't think so. Somebody said, are there hidden charges in mutual fund, for example, withholding tax? No, there's nothing like hidden charges. They will tell you upfront the charges. Now, because the asset management company is managing your fund for you on your behalf, they usually have a certain percentage. I think it's either 1% or 1.5% or something, of what you have. Okay. So that's it's nothing much compared to putting your money in a savings account that you are going to be losing on it. And the other thing is that in your savings account, don't forget the bank does not keep the money there. They are making money with your money. So why not you go and make money with your own money and at least earn 24 or 21% instead of the bank giving you a miserable maybe 2, 3, 4% every 3 months. So that's the difference there. So I see another question. Somebody is saying, how can we successfully navigate Nigeria investment environment given the high level of dishonesty, fraudulence, and scam? I think to a large extent, it's not a Nigerian situation. And so usually it's a challenge of the lack of financial education, to know who to go to, where to go for your business. I can tell you that Nigeria is still one of the best, if not the best investment climate in the world. I'm not joking, where you can put your money and you make money. Nigerian exchange, which used to be known as Nigerian Stock Exchange, now known as Nigeria Exchange, is one of the most profitable in the world. One of the most profitable. So if you want to get the federal government savings bond, you can ask your bank. Banks usually, they are primary dealers. So you can ask your bank. Your bank can help you. And you know, FGN bond is there. FGN savings bond is there. Then there is also FGN bond, which is different from FGN savings bond. So for the FGN bond, that's usually a longer duration, about 10 years, because those money, you'll be getting paid, you know, I think for the FGN bond, that's the payment is twice a year. Every 6 months, you get paid for that. Okay, so I think I've been able to take all the questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Please, on a quick one, I would like to invite Mrs. Okoli Olufunke. Please unmute from your side and go ahead with your question.
Thank you very much, sir. That was really very impactful. I want to say good afternoon to my directors and my retired peers. It's an honor to be here. Sir, straight to the question. My question is, there are investments, you know, some of us have gotten our hands bonds at trying to invest in various companies. Now, the fear of removing your money from savings accounts and putting in some other investments, you know, apart from the mutual benefit that I think is a bit guaranteed, even though the interest is low, what other investments can we actually go into? For instance, there are product investment, I know that every investment comes with its risk, but apart from these examples you have go into in the short term that can actually be like a passive income for us. Thank you.
Thank you. I mentioned mutual fund, that your money is guaranteed. And then when you talk about, you know, the experiences that, you know, people have had. So usually what you should do before ever putting your money in an investment is to do a due diligence. And part of the due diligence is to find out, this company, are they regulated? For instance, all of these companies that I used as example, I don't work for them. However, they are regulated by the Security and Exchange Commission. And that means they have the license to operate here in Nigeria, and they are guaranteed to return your money. Mutual fund is low risk. You get your money and your interest, like I said, monthly. Then the most secure of them all is the FGN, either FGN savings bond or FGN bonds. That means you are borrowing the federal government of Nigeria money to do its business. Okay, so the idea now is, it's not possible that Nigeria will not pay you your money or that Nigeria will owe you. And for instance, for the Nigerian, for the FGN savings bond, they pay every 3 months. And like I said, the interest is not much. See, because if you're looking for interest that is high, you cannot get high returns on low risk or moderate risk investment. If you are looking for high returns, you will have to go for the high risk investment. The higher the risk, the higher the returns. And so also the higher the possibility that you will lose your money. And so these are things that, I'm putting upfront for you to know. So, and don't forget, we're talking about wealth creation. So wealth creation takes time to build. And then as you build, you are also learning the different portfolios. You can immediately look at a bond that you have that is going to end maybe in another 6 months, 1 year. And before it ends, you want to, cash in your money at that stage because it is offering something very high at that stage. So what do? You do what? You close it, take your returns and put the money into a new one that is about to start, that the entry money is not so much. So it's a lot of, it can be a full-time job if you understand, how to work, with that. But for guaranteed money, guaranteed returns, mutual fund is good. FGN savings bond and FGN bonds, they are good. And for those who want to also be able to hedge your money more against risk, you can decide to do Euro bond. Now that will be in dollars. And so, and for that, I think you need a minimum of $10,000 to do that. But then you get your return so that when your return comes, it's coming in dollars. It can also help you hedge against the loss in, the Naira. Okay, so I think Mrs. Olufunke Okole have been able to answer a little bit.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. I've already put his name on the chat board and his phone number. Please,
So it's Onikosi,
you
not
can,
Onikosi.
sorry, you can get in touch with him after the section of today. So on this note, I would like to invite one of the retirees to appreciate our facilitator for today. Please, kindly, okay, I would like to invite Mrs. Oluwatoyin Aro. Please kindly unmute from your side and appreciate the facilitator for the presentation. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, our facilitator. Sorry, I came in late, very late, but I've forgotten that we even have a seminar going on. They didn't remind us, but all the same, I think I have I think I have a question for the facilitator. If you can please help me to answer this question, I'll be very grateful. I'm a living witness. Yeah, I'm a retiree, and I want to know why is CTCS not an investment on its own? When we were in service, we entered CTCS. And when we were to leave the service, they are supposed to calculate all our money and give it to us so that we can use it to still reinvest. Are you getting my point? But what I'm telling you right now, I've not been able to access my money. They've not been able to give me my money. I've been going up and down in order to collect it. Is it right? And you want us to have an investment? You can help me to answer that question. I really appreciate, on behalf of everybody, I appreciate you for that brilliant presentation. Thank you so much, man. And God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Please, Mr. Adenrele. This is going to be the last question for this section. Please go ahead, sir.
To ask, what's the full meaning of CTCS?
I think I should answer. This is Mrs. Dorodola speaking.
Yes.
CTCS is a cooperative society. And, well, it's not right that you are not able to access your money, Mrs. Aro. I'm really very sorry about that. But what you should have done is to complain, write a letter to the head of service now that you are retired. It means that the cooperative society that you belong to had issues even while you were in service. You probably must have been seeking to obtain loan and finding it difficult even before you left the service. That was the time you ought to have escalated to Ministry of Commerce and Cooperatives, and they probably would have been able to resolve that issue before you exited the service. But with the situation now, you can still office of the head of service, and the management committee of that cooperative society will be invited for a meeting, and I'm sure your issue can be resolved. Definitely, CTCS is a form of investment, because if you get dividends every year, it's a form of investment. At least we get something at the end of it. I belong to a cooperative society too, and I can tell you the cooperative society I belong to does not have any issue. There was a time I belonged to one that had issue. I quickly left them, even though their problem is now resolved, but I left them. So it's an action you ought to have taken while you were in service that you did not take. I hope I have answered your question.
Thank you, ma'am.
So, Mr. Onikosi, if you still have any addition to that, you can, I don't know, you can do that.
So it's okay for, I don't know if being in a cooperative is compulsory, but I know that it has, it usually have immediate benefits for those who join. I was in a cooperative until this January when I exited. I exited because the dividend they are paying is a far cry to the things that I get in other places. So they were paying 8% per annum. The best they've ever paid is 10%. And I'm like, no, it's not done. However, because there are other benefits where people can borrow money in the immediate, or you can use it for property acquisition, it's something that people can do, but that should not be the only investment. So usually the reason people run into trouble with an investment is the lack of diversified portfolio. It's like you can't put your eggs in one basket. You have to diversify your portfolio so that in your portfolio you have mutual fund, you have equity fund, you have treasury bill, commercial paper, you have FGM bond. Just diversify. You have shares of different companies, especially companies in high performing market. High performing market in Nigeria, some of the best companies you can put your money in is in the financial sector. We call the big four bank, the FUGAs. And then also you can put your money in oil and gas, company. You can put your money in FMCGs. Those companies that produce what people eat every day, like the Dangote sugar, like the flour mill. They will keep selling every day. People eat. So those things really, they have a way. So diversifying so that you don't have all your money, everything, your own investment, everything is only in a cooperative. It can be a challenge when something goes wrong. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. On this note, I would like to, our time is fast spent. I'd like to invite the Director of the Service Department to close the webinar for today so that we can greet ourselves and give the dates for the next one. Please, Director of the Service. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Our time is fast spent. So on this note, I would like to invite the Director of Post Service Department, Mrs. Jurodola, to close the webinar for today so that we can greet ourselves. Director, please.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Adeniji, and thank you, Mr. Adenrele Onikosi. I must confess, your presentation is loaded, very educative, impactful, table shaking, I must say, because during your presentation, you made us realize that the keeping our money in RSA is not smart money strategy. And of course, you were able to prove that. If annual interest rate is around 10%, although I'm not sure about that. And I don't think the interest rate for RSA is being disclosed. I don't think so. And if inflation rate is 34%, then it is definitely not a smart money strategy. But you know, it's a law. And then what option do we have? Even other investments, as you have rightly observed, may likely not give you beyond 10%. So I think it's a general problem. It's a general problem that we have. It's the problem of the economy, problem of the inflation. And I think we all have something to do about that. As serving officers, as retirees, it's not just on the government's table to resolve the problem of inflation. I'm sure if we are more productive and we can source our goods locally as against importing most things, the rate of inflation will definitely go down. And I think government is doing a lot to ensure that we have a good economy. I want to believe that in the nearest future, things will get better. But for now, we are on the pension scheme and, we will remain there. There is nothing that can be done to it for now. Let me also draw our attention to something very key that the facilitator said today. He mentioned that we should build a vocation around our experience. This is very key. As public servants, he mentioned that we have valuable experience. As a public servant, you have, let me direct it to each and every one of us now. You personally, I'm directing this to each and every one of us on this call. You have valuable experience which you can turn into a money-making venture. And the question I want to put to you now is this: what money-making venture can you build at this time? It's a question you need to ask yourself. It's something you need to task your brain about. It's something you probably need to speak to people about who can give you ideas. The situation we are in this country now, we cannot depend on a source of income. We cannot depend only on our pension income. We need to definitely go into other things. And luckily, we are blessed. We've been told that our experience in the public service is very valuable. So depending on your profession, depending on your skill, what business can you build? And I also want to say, you can upskill, you can reinvent yourself. You can go for short-term training that will even give you skills. Look at your environment. What are those things that you think you can get market for in your environment? You can learn skill around that and then build something that can give you income. Once again, I want to say thank you to Mr. Onikosi. And I want to remind us, we have a YouTube channel. I want to believe that this kind of presentation is not something you listen to one-off. You have to, I personally, we have to go back to it, listen to it 2 or 3 more times so that I can assimilate everything that has been said today. We will post the YouTube link on different group chats. Let's circulate it. Let's share with our friends. And let us go back to this presentation and listen to it again and imbibe it. Once again, I want to say thank you very much, facilitator, for today. I want to thank all the participants on this call. Thank you for always returning. I want to specially appreciate retired PS, former Honorable Commissioner in the state. She is always coming back, Mrs. Florence Oguntuwashi. We are glad that you are with us once again today. We are grateful. I also want to personally appreciate Otumba Olukoga, who is also a retired permanent secretary and a one-time special advisor to Mr. Governor on education. Thank you for joining us today. We are happy that you are with us today. And finally, I also want to appreciate Mr. F.O. Lasisi, a retired director and a one-time special advisor to Mr. Governor on taxation. Thank you for joining. And I want to thank everybody, every one of us on this call, especially retired permanent secretaries for always returning. Thank you. We appreciate you. And God bless. Once again, I want to advise us, let us go back to the YouTube channel to listen again. Let us subscribe. Let us share. Let us like that channel. God bless you. I'm going to change the setting of the Zoom to enable every one of us to unmute at this time.
You said well, but
so that
just
exchange
Ikeja has shown
so on this
keep
note,
encouraging.
webinar closed.
Yeah, now
Ready to
that's what you
let us all unmute and
because you can face because we have one
on our videos.
now we show and care trust. Because for the time when I said I don't want that for the commission only get 40,000.
Morning, boys and girls. Thank you. God bless you, Sister Adenrele. We appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much.
Thank you,
Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Appreciate
Thank you.
Mrs. Jodola, thank you very much.
Mrs.
The
Rodola, thank you,
facilitator,
thank
you are highly
you.
appreciated.
Thank you
We
so
can't
much.
thank the department enough.
The chief
Thank you,
hostess,
sir.
you are highly acknowledged. Thank you. God
Thank
bless
you so
you.
much, sir. We really appreciate you.
All these webinars are
Thank you.
elongating our
I thank
lifespan.
everybody,
Oh,
Mrs.
elongate
Jodola,
life,
and
you
all
know.
members of the team and
God for what
Thank
organizers.
you.
you.
God
Thank
bless
you.
you. Enough for you, better on you.
Thank you,
We need the
everybody.
link, the YouTube link.
Yeah, you joined the link.
I will
It's
forward
already
it
there.
to
Thank you. Mrs.
the
Kolawole,
Yes, ma'am.
compliment of the parent.
Ah, same to you, Mrs. Adesomi.
Thank you.
Are you back?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. I will soon join you.
Everybody.
Okay.
Thank
Please,
you,
you can send it
everybody.
personally to me, please.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you,
you
ma.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank
So
Thank
you.
you so much.
next 2 weeks, by
Welcome.
God's grace, we are going to be discussing on health. Thank you and have a
Wow.
lovely day.
Wow.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
We are not afraid we are retired, though. We have been taken
Yes.
care of by